So in 8.7, we're going to bring it all together and add and subtract negative mixed numbers that have different denominators, really combining every rule we've been doing. So 1/2 plus 3/4. First thing you always do is get the denominators the same. So 1/2 becomes 2/4. So this becomes 5/4, which is the correct answer, and 1 1/4. This, you're going to get the denominators the same, so we're going to get them over 4. So this is negative 2/4 plus negative 3/4. Negative 2 plus negative 3 is negative 5 over 4. That's the correct answer, which is also negative 1 1/4. 5 1/2 plus 2 3/4. Same thing. You're going to get that 1/2 to be 2/4. 5, you add the whole numbers, get 7. 2/4 plus 3/4, 5/4. Can't have an improper fraction there. You need regrouping. So it's 7 plus 1 1/4. 5/4 is 1 1/4. 8 1/4. With negatives, negative 5 plus negative 2, negative 7. And remembering that both parts are negative. So the other part is negative 1/2 plus negative 3/4. Right? We just did that up there. Right? And it was negative 1 1/4. So now we have negative 7 plus negative 1 1/4. We got to add those together. Right? We're going to add, I'm going to run out of room. That's not times. Trying to, well, I'll do it, write it up here. Negative 1 1/4. And so that is negative 8 1/4. Right? They were both negative. If they're both parts are positive, you don't need to regroup. Or both parts are negative. You need to regroup. You don't need to regroup. Don't need to regroup. When you have one of each, that's the problem. I'm sure we'll have some of those. What mixed number problems are represented below? Well, they all start with negative 1. And then somehow we're getting over here to positive 1/4. Okay. And it looks like we're adding 2 1/4 to me. It looks like that one. So negative 1 plus 2 1/4. Right? Add the opposite. This is the same thing as A, so I think it's right. Yes. So let's see what this is. Negative 1 plus 2. Right, you add the whole numbers. Negative 1 plus 2 is positive 1. And then you have an extra fourth. Right, it's 1 1/4. Both of these, A and B, are 1 1/4. This one here, negative 1 plus negative 2 1/4. You get negative 1 plus negative 2, negative 3, and then you have a negative 1/4. It's negative 3 1/4. Right, that's if this top arrow was flipped over facing the other way. Okay. So we're going to have negative mixed numbers, and then invariably we're going to have regrouping and things to do. Right? If you get the answer negative 2 19/16, you make that negative 2 plus negative 1 3/16, and you get negative 3 3/16. Literally every rule that we've been doing this whole unit. So as always, we have to get the least common LCD, least common denominator, LCD, first. We have negative 2 3/10. We got to get the other one over 3/10. 2/5, 1/5 makes 2/10. You add the whole numbers. The whole numbers are negative 2 and negative 6. They make negative 8. You add the fractions. The fractions are both negative, right? Both parts of a mixed number, if it's negative, are negative. So negative 3/10 plus negative 2/10, negative 5/10. That's negative 1/2 after you simplify. Negative 8 plus negative 1/2 is negative 8 1/2. Next, same thing here. We got to get these both over 4. So negative 4 1/2 is negative 4 2/4. We add the whole numbers. Negative 4 plus 6, positive 2. We add the fractions. Now 2/4 is negative. Negative 2/4 plus 3/4. Is 1/4, right? Since 2 and the 1/4 are both positive, right, you just add them together. So if they're both positive, you just add them together. If they're both negative, you just add them together. Let's see what's going on here. So 5 and 4, the least common multiple here is 20. So we got to get them both over 20, and they're both negative. It's very easy to forget a negative sign thing. So 5 times 4 is 20, so 3 times 4 is 12. So that's negative 12, negative 2 and 12/20. 4 times 5, 1 times 5, that's negative 5/20. Now negative 2 plus nothing, adding the whole numbers. Let's tend to go too fast on this, but adding the whole numbers, you get -2. Adding the fractions, both parts are negative here. All right, so we get -17/20. Oh, all right, since both parts are negative, we just put them together, -2 and 17/20. All right, so we're going to do we got to get these over 12. And so 3 times 4 and 1 times 4 and 4 times 3 and 1 times 3. Okay. So now we have 1. All right, so we can add the opposite here. Why don't we do that? 1 and 4 twelfths plus 3 and 3 twelfths. That's the way to go here. 1 plus 3 is 4. 4 twelfths plus 3 twelfths is 7 twelfths. 4 and 7 twelfths. Again, this is negative, we're going to get these over 8, -5 and 7/8. Yes, you could add the opposite again. This is going to be -2 and 6/8. So we're going to add the opposite, -5 and 7/8 plus 2 and 6/8. All right, so add the whole numbers. Let's do that. Where do I want to do that? I want to do it over here. So -5 plus 2 is -3. Both the 7/8 is negative because it's in -5 and 7/8. -7/8 plus 6/8 is -1/8. So that worked out because it's -3 plus -1/8. It's -3 1/8. Okay, so these are going to be the harder ones because we're going to have to regroup. Let's see that. So we're going to add the whole numbers. Add the 3 plus the -2 and get positive. Oh, no, we're not going to do that first. We're going to get our common denominator first. So we're going to get these over 10. Then we'll do that. First thing, get the denominator. So 5 times 2. All right, so now we'll do 3 plus -2 is 1. All right, let me write it out. 3 plus -2 is 1. 2/10. Now the 5/10 is negative, right? So it's -5/10. So 2/10 plus -5/10 is -3/10. So we have a +1 and a -3/10. We have to regroup. So it's 1 plus -3/10. We're going to use 10/10 for 1 plus -3/10. And the answer to this whole thing is +7/10 because 10 plus -3 is 7. Let's try another one. Okay, so we're going to get the denominator the same. And let's go right to add the opposite. Let's save a step here since these are long enough. And we've been doing this a while. All right, so I added the opposite and I got the same denominator. Now, -1 plus 4 is +3. And, sorry, I cleaned that up. So -1 plus 4 is 3. Then the 7/8 is negative. So it's -7/8 plus +4/8. -7/8 plus +4/8 is -3/8. So we have a +3 being added to a -3/8. We got to regroup it. So we're going to use eighths, right? We're going to use 8/8. So 2 and 8/8 is 3 plus -3/8 is 2 and +5. 2 and 5/8, both positive. And that is the answer to that problem. All right, so we're going to pick the 2 that represent there. So this is -2 1/4. Yeah, they all start with -2 1/4. And then we're adding, looks like 2 1/2 here. So we end up with this answer 1/4. So which one is that? Well, A clearly, and B is adding the opposite. Yeah, so it's, I got to mix these up a little bit more, I think. But let's see the math of this. So -2 plus 2 is 0. Oh, they don't have common denominators yet, so let's do that. -2 1/4 plus 2 2/4. Okay, so -2 plus 2 is 0. 1/4 plus 2/4. All right, but remembering, let's going too fast. The -2 1/4, that 1/4 is negative. Over there, that 2/4 is positive, and the answer is +1/4. That's what the answer looked like there. B is the same thing through adding the opposite. So it's A and B. But C is -2 1/4 plus -2 2/4. I did 2 things there. I added the opposite and made that. -2 plus -2, -4. And -1/4 plus -2/4. This one's actually easier. is negative 4 3/4, right? If you go that way, it would go out this way. Which is closest to the exact answer? Let's see. Well, what I want you to do here is realize this is a little bit more than negative 5, and this is a little bit more than negative 4. More is it's more of the negatives. So it's around negative 9. Now, you could do all the work here, but whenever I have closest to the exact answer, I'm trying to just have you round it, okay? Let's practice. So, you got to get the denominator the same, so we're going to pick 14. So negative 6 6/14 plus 2 5/14. All right, negative 6 plus positive 2 is negative 4. Negative 6/14, both parts are negative, plus 5/14 is negative 1/14. So both parts are negative. I can just write negative 4 1/14. We're going to get these both over 15. So 1/3 is, right, 5/15. 7 2/5 is negative 7 2/5, negative 6 6/15. So it's negative 7 minus nothing, which is negative 7. Okay, now we have negative 6/15 minus 5/15, which is the same as negative 6/15 plus negative 5/15, which is negative 11/15. All right, so both parts are negative. I can just write it negative 7 11/15. This one I would get over 12. And that becomes 3 2/12. This becomes 2 9/12. 3 minus 2 is 1. 2/12 minus 9/12 is negative 7/12. All right, so this one needs regrouping. 1 plus negative 7/12. 1 will use 12/12 plus negative 7/12 is 5/12. After you do all this work, this equals 5/12. So final question. So they all start at negative 2 1/4. This one at a time, it looks like we're taking away a half. So it's negative 2 1/4, take away a half. Which one's the same? Oh, finally, it's this one over here. Yes, this is the one that's different. So I'm going to do the C here. So, right, negative 2 plus negative 1/2. So negative 2 1/4. So it's negative 2 1/4. Make the denominators the same. Make that negative 2/4. Let's get the circle out of the way. So that equals negative 2, and that's negative 1/4 plus negative 2/4. Negative 2 3/4 is the answer. Is that where this ends up? Negative 2 3/4. It does. And so adding negative 1/2, same as subtracting half. Good luck on the homework.